When the leader decides to see only the basic truth, only to be confronted with something unexpected, what happens then? Let's delve into the story of Ethan, that ambitious man and successful entrepreneur, and how a single visit to his store changed everything. Ethan Grant was a self-made man. He grew up in a modest home, worked hard during his college years, and built his business, Grant Goods, from scratch. The store became famous for offering high-quality home products at affordable prices, and its slogan, "Made for You," resonated widely with families across the country. Ethan started with a single store in a small town, but he quickly expanded his business into a chain with hundreds of branches. But as the company grew, he began to feel disconnected from the daily operations. One morning, Ethan woke up with a strange feeling. He was receiving positive reports from his international manager about the company's performance, but something didn't feel right. He realized the numbers weren't the full story, so he secretly visited a store in disguise. He gave up his elegant suit and put on jeans and an ordinary jacket to look like any regular customer. His destination was branch number 213, located in one of the crowded suburbs, far from the company's headquarters. When he entered the store, the first thing he noticed was the smell of fresh coffee coming from the small cafe in the corner. The shelves were full and the goods were neatly arranged, which made him feel proud for a moment. He reminded himself he came to observe, not admire. As he walked through the aisles, he picked up some products, a set of kitchen knives, a set of towels, and a box for a lighting plant. But suddenly, something strange caught his attention. The customer service section was empty, even though there was supposed to be a smiling employee ready to help. There were 3 customers waiting in line, and they showed signs of increasing frustration. Ethan decided to join the line to see how the situation would be handled. After waiting for several minutes, a young man named Derek finally appeared behind the counter. But he didn't apologize for the delay or show any concern for the customers who had been waiting for so long. Instead, he leaned on the counter and said in a complaining tone, as if he was annoyed, "What do you want?" Ethan was surprised by Derek's behavior, but he decided to remain silent and keep observing. The first customer stepped forward and asked to exchange a defective product, but Derek replied coldly, "That's not my problem. If you want to exchange it, read the return policy first." There was no sympathy or attempt to solve the problem, which increased the customer's annoyance, and he left angrily without being able to exchange the product. When it was Ethan's turn, he asked Derek about certain discounts he had seen in the store's advertisement, but Derek replied boredly, "I don't know, you can look them up on the website." At that moment, Ethan realized that the problem was not just an individual incident, but could be part of a deeper issue within his company. He left the store feeling disappointed, but he knew that this experience was necessary. For years, he relied on official reports and meetings with managers, but now he realized that the reality on the ground was completely different. It wasn't just about the products or prices, it was about the customer experience and the service the company provided, things that could make or break the brand's reputation. The next morning, Ethan returned to his office and held an emergency meeting with the management team. He began the conversation by saying, "Yesterday, I was at one of our stores as a regular customer, not as the chief executive officer, and what I saw there was shocking." He shared his experience in detail, emphasizing that a brand is not built only on products, but on the experience customers have when interacting with employees. Then he asked the team, "How many times have you visited the stores without announcing yourselves? Do you really know what is happening on the ground?" Everyone grew silent, realizing there was a gap between headquarters and what really happens in the stores. Ethan made an immediate decision to implement comprehensive changes. He started with a new training program for employees focused on customer service, and he also established a system to reward employees who achieve customer satisfaction. Instead of relying on paper reports, he decided to conduct regular secret visits to the company's branches to ensure that everything was running as it should. During the following months, the change became clearly visible. Customer service improved, customer satisfaction levels increased, and even sales started to rise. The change wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Ethan realized that leadership doesn't mean sitting behind a desk and making decisions. It means going out into the field, listening, observing, and acting based on the truth, not just on what's said in reports. And so, Ethan learned a valuable lesson. True leaders are those who aren't afraid to face the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, because change begins when you see things as they really are, not just as they're presented to you. A year after these changes, Ethan noticed that the company not only improved in terms of sales, but the work environment also became more positive. Employees became more committed, and customers became more loyal to the brand. But more importantly, the company's culture changed completely. There was no longer a gap between leadership and the employees in the stores, and everyone felt like they were part of Grant Goods' success. One day, Ethan received an email from one of the branch managers. It said, "Mr. Ethan, I just wanted to let you know that one of the customer service employees at my branch was providing poor service. But instead of ignoring the matter, I decided to handle it the way we learned from you. I talked to him, we listened to his concerns, and we worked on solving his problems. Today, he is one of the best customer service employees. Thank you for making this company a better place for all of us." Ethan smiled reading the message, because he realized that the true impact of any leader does not lie in making decisions from his office, but in his ability to change mindsets and inspire others to become leaders in their own positions. Since then, he developed a special tradition. Every month, he would visit one of his branches in disguise, not just to observe the situation, but to feel the spirit of work in the place where he started. It wasn't just a passing experience, but a lesson that changed the course of his life and his company forever. And so, the name Grant Goods became associated not only with quality and reasonable prices, but also with a culture of excellence in customer service, thanks to a leader who decided to see the truth for himself and act upon it. While Ethan was observing what was happening, he saw Derek refuse a customer's request to return a defective product, citing an unclear return policy. Another customer asked for help finding a specific product. Derek simply pointed randomly toward the back of the store without even looking up from his phone. When it was Ethan's turn, he smiled and politely asked, "Excuse me, can you help me check the price of this product?" But Derek didn't even look at the product. He coldly said, while pointing his thumb toward one of the aisles, "There's a scanner over there." Ethan was stunned. This wasn't the experience that person and his company had promised their customers. He thanked Derek. He walked away, his mind preoccupied with thoughts. He decided to explore the store further to see if this was just an isolated incident or a deeper problem. He approached another employee, a middle-aged man named Todd, who was busy arranging the shelves. As soon as he saw Ethan, he stopped what he was doing, smiled warmly, and said, "How can I help you?" Today, Ethan asked about the products. Todd patiently answered, gave recommendations, and shared tips. It was clear that Todd genuinely cared about the customers and the store. Out of curiosity, Ethan started a casual conversation with Todd. "You seem to know a lot about the store. How long have you been working here?" Todd replied excitedly, "About 10 years. I love this place, the customers, and the work itself. I feel like it's my home. But honestly, things have gotten tough lately. We're short-staffed, and some of the new employees don't care about the job as much as they should. It's frustrating, but I'm doing my best to keep things running smoothly." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of admiration and sadness. Toda's dedication was what Ethan wanted in all his employees, but Derek's behavior was a clear problem. Ethan returned to headquarters, where he reviewed employee records and customer feedback about store number 213. It was no surprise to find many complaints about mistreatment and poor service, and Derek's name appeared in many of them. He also discovered that Tode had been nominated for promotion several times, but hadn't received it due to budget constraints. Ethan realized that his company's rapid expansion had created weaknesses he hadn't clearly seen. The policies that were put in place to streamline operations had unintentionally marginalized loyal employees like Tode, letting employees like Derek go unnoticed. A week later, Ethan returned to store number 213, but this time under his real identity. He gathered the employees for a meeting and revealed to them about his previous visit when he was undercover. Derek looked tense, while Todd and the other employees appeared curious. Ethan spoke calmly but with impact. This company began with a simple idea, making life easier for customers and employees. But eventually, we lost sight of that goal. I've seen great dedication from some and behavior that doesn't reflect our values from others. This is a wake-up call for all of us. Then he turned to Todd and said, "Your commitment and dedication have not gone unnoticed. Starting today, you are promoted to assistant manager. You deserve it." Todd's eyes widened in surprise, and applause filled the room. After that, Ethan looked at Derek and said, "This company was built on respect, the mutual respect between employees and customers. If you're not ready to embody these values, this might not be the right place for you, but I'm giving you a chance to prove that you can change. The decision is yours." Over the following months, Ethan implemented wide-ranging changes in the company. He introduced better training programs, increased the number of employees, and created a confidential system that allowed customers and employees to provide feedback anonymously. The surprise was that Derek took the opportunity to improve under Todd's supervision. He became a more attentive and responsible employee. This experience reminded Ethan of the importance of staying connected to the core of his work. Success wasn't just about profits or expansion, but about the people who made it all possible. Thanks to one revealing visit, he was able to set things right again.